All right. Hello, YouTube. I hope you're all doing well. Go ahead and pause that. Hope you're all doing well today. I wanted to get on here. This is a pre-record. I will not be live today, but I wanted to get on here and do your lunar eclipse full moon forecast in Taurus. So we have this full moon and lunar eclipse in Taurus Saturday, October 28th. This is going to take place at about 4:24 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This full moon is also called a hunter's moon or a travel moon. This represents a time for harvesting all of our fruits, veggies, meats, and wools or textiles for the winter season ahead. This is how the ancestors did it. Using the brightness of the moon aided in valuable hunting, light, and travel. It is also a time to begin stocking up on supplies for the winter months ahead. Now, the partial lunar eclipse begins at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and will be visible only in the Northern American Northeast, so Northeast, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and visible in full view. If you live in Europe, Russia, Italy, Germany, the UK, you will definitely be able to see this eclipse. And it will be visible also in, my understanding, is in the African countries of South Africa, Egypt, and Algeria. The moon will enter the penumbra phase at 2 p.m. Eastern and the umbra at 4:54 p.m. and then go back to the penumbra again at 6:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I have attached the information I received this from through space.com. You can go and check that out. I've put the link up there for you. Now, I do want you guys to think back to November 8th, 2022. That is when we had the last lunar eclipse in Taurus. What has the past year brought you? What changes have come? These are all life lessons to be granted by the stars. Any of you out there who journal should go back and take a look at what is going on in your lives or their lives back then. Then ask yourself, what have I achieved and learned from this energy? So for those of you who do journal, this is your prime opportunity to kind of go back and see what has taken place. Now, this full moon energy and the next 2 weeks will bring added stress with affairs of the heart, love or romance. Many will break up in these stars. There will be bad news with the economy too. The stock market, financial institutions, and corporations create some sort of devastating financial news for many of us. Not to mention we have a war going on now. Dramatic changes are taking place in the financial world. And like I have said before, I've said this before, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to repeat it. 10 to 15 years from now, we will not be using the American dollar as currency, and the global financial market will be unrecognizable. The world will be on global digital currency, either a cryptocurrency or a CBDC created by that nation's government. You're already banking on the blockchain and you don't even realize it. Your banks aren't going to tell you that, okay? And I can only speak for the two banks, the two top banks, and I gave this information to Patreon, but I will share it publicly. Chase Bank has been working on a blockchain since 2012. It's called Onyx. Wells Fargo is the other one I know, and they have R3, which is their blockchain. I know Bank of America has one. I just don't remember which one it is. But if you could sit here and fight it all you want, it's here, and you don't even realize you're using it yet. Going back to solar energy, remember that the solar eclipse in Libra, which is Venus energy, was all about our outer expression, physical changes, and the outer self. The lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is in Venus, again, are both of strong Venus energies, and it will impact all things related to money, finances, the arts, beauty, aesthetics, and relationships too. The lunar eclipse energy is more internal and all about our psychological emotions, feelings, and inward issues. On a more positive note, this energy is ruled by Venus, beauty. So enjoy some beautiful art, get out there and listen to some good music, enjoy some fine foods or delicious wines, as Taurus loves to indulge in the finer things in life. It's also a good time to set budgets, but make no major investments for or financial decisions until that new moon, which will be ruling investing. Many we may feel like splurging at this time, and spending a little on ourselves is one thing. It is great to invest in yourself, but do not max out credit cards. That's only going to bring financial burdens later. And the reason I say that is because every time they raise interest rates, it's not just your mortgage that's going up, it's your credit um, interest rates that go up as well. So keep that in mind. Try to keep the credit cards in check. After the full moon, it is best to look for vintage or secondhand items instead of buying brand new. And always remember that if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is a scam. So be aware, especially when it comes to cyber scams and credit fraud and things like that. And you want to really be careful with TikTok shop if you do a lot of shopping on TikTok. I know a lot of people in my world that have gotten ripped off through that. So um, best to use a credit card, never a debit card, because it's impossible to get your money back sometimes with a debit. So as to a credit, you can. And I do apologize. Like I said, I'm having construction being done around my house, so there's a lot of banging going on. Now, several years ago, and this is really, some of you may remember it, some of you may not. But several years ago, I posted all about our economy and how there will be this like corporate death with Pluto in its last breath in Capricorn. It is kind of back to finish what it started back in November of 2008 with transforming and rebirth. We have witnessed the exposure of many politicians and many others, police force, etc., and their dirty practices these past few years. And the last breath of a Capricorn dominated energy set in place in the USA. The last 250 years, with its first ever Pluto return last year as a nation, is setting the tone for change, radical change globally. Now, money is going to be an issue with this eclipse, and it does produce setbacks with goods, services, and commodities, especially petrol. Now, I just heard on the news yesterday here in Arizona, gas prices are going down. That's going to be a short-term thing. If this war continues, the Saudis will start raising their prices, but goods and services will go up again, probably in the winter, midwinter time. Now, Venus is the goddess of security, wealth, and beauty. And eclipse energy always represents a death of something and a rebirth of another. So tell me, who is old enough to remember the biggest joke ever, besides taking the United States off the gold standard in 1971? And then in 74, signing an arms deal with Saudi Arabia. And that's how our money started being funded. But who remembers the biggest joke ever? This was in the Reagan years. I was a little kid, but I always remember my parents talking about trickle-down economics. Back in the 80s, President Reagan created this. And in the end, the trickle-down economics was just a trick that the American people fell for. Hence the word trick and trickle. Read between the lines, right? So I just find that statement amusing because nothing ever trickled down. The economy is in worse shape now than it was even 20 years ago, and it's not looking too good. Now, my usual spiel here is that all souls will feel this energy. The strongest will be the earth signs, Scorpio, and those born with a dragon's head, tail, sun, moon, or ascendant in Taurus. But wherever this eclipse energy falls by house and sign, all of us will feel it. All right, my magical folk. Now, there are a lot of people out there that say not to do any magic in eclipse energy, and my spiel on this. I'm not one of them. Ha ha ha. Anytime we have a full moon eclipse in Taurus, which rules finances, money, arts, beauty, and self-esteem, magic is required. It is the perfect time for beauty and love spells, money spells, abundance and wealth rituals. It represents death and rebirth at this time. So ridding ourselves of something that no longer serves us to rebirth something better is always good as well. And any kind of healing work for the ears, nose, throat, and neck will work well under this energy. And don't forget, this is a lunar eclipse. Even though it's a partial eclipse, and even though you might not see it in your neck of the woods, the moon energy is still there. So don't forget to make moon water, charge your crystals, put out your tarots, and any and all magical tools that you use. Charge them in this energy. Now, these next 2 weeks are going to be difficult for many, and I wish all of our astrological forecasts were more positive in nature. But I wouldn't be true to myself as an astrologer or the people who read my forecasts if I sugarcoated everything and I kept you all buried with your heads in the sand. Now, that was more for my Patreons. They got that information. And you're at the end of this newsletter, you're more than welcome to join for $5 a month. Now, a lunar eclipses always bring the emotional and internal aspects of change. Wherever this falls by house and sign, all of us are surely going to feel a death and a rebirth that are about to unfold in our lives for all of us. A rebirth is coming, and that is the beauty of the life, death, rebirth, and transformation factor. I want you all to be safe these next few weeks, as news headlines will be more negative in nature with finances and economic issues. And before I go on, our economy does not need a war, another war. And I just found out about 20 minutes ago before I went live that Palestine is now dark. They have taken out internet. And that's never good when internet's taken out, because in the mask of darkness, more chaos unfolds. Now, on a more positive here, lunar eclipses are ruled by, well, at least Taurus ones, are ruled by Mother Gaia, the great Mother Earth. And it's not necessarily a positive aspect here, but Uranus is in Taurus too, making the fault lines and volcanoes very active too. So anytime we deal with lunar energy, especially when it's in a water or earth sign, the chances of there being a big earthquake or a volcanic eruption within the next 2 weeks is always very common. Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, she will be there to let us all know that she's going to shake some trees and stretch herself with seismic activity these next few weeks. Be safe and have a very blessed full moon eclipse. Now, if you want more information such as extended forecasts for all signs, days of caution windows, and all the other goodies that come with membership, the link is here in this newsletter. Feel free to join Patreon for a simple $5 a month, and you can get a lot of the goodies that I don't post for the general public. That is your forecast. That is for this Saturday. I'm wishing all of you a great weekend ahead. Be safe. And I will talk to you all soon. Have a blessed full moon. Bye bye.